So I thought I'd explain what's going on there. The whole premise is you go into a shallow water with the player, and if you have a bottle on hand, you use it, and you can have a choice to bottle up some water. How that works, as simple as it looked, not so simple at all. It's a mix of using the items and the common events. First off, you get your item, empty bottle, and what you need to do is summon up a common event, which I titled Empty Bottle. So, I'm going to go over here, back up a bit. Also, have a water item as well, because kind of need to have an item labeled water if you're going to make bottled water from an empty bottle, right? Right. Alright, so back to common events. Gonna make one called Empty Bottle, and what it's gonna do is it's going to create two variables, which I named xpos and ypos for the x and y positions of the player, which when you're creating your variable, you can do that. See, it'll say x position operation set to map x of player. So it will track the x position of the player when this common event is summoned. And same thing for the y position. Next, it will get location info for the water check for a variable called water check, which will take the terrain tag of the tile that of the tile that the character is sitting on, which we can designate that with, again, the two variables of the x and y position that we have wherever our player is standing. So, basically what it's trying to do here is that it's determining where we're standing. So if we're standing on land, it will be x position 12 at y position 9 or 36 or whatever, and it will check the terrain, and what it's going to do is check the terrain tag to see what it is. The terrain tag I set, which you can do in tile sets, by going there, going to the correct tile set, which would be outside, click the terrain tag button, and as you can see, these two tiles up here, which are water for grassland and dirt, I set it to 1. You can set it to any other number you want to, depending on how you want to do things in your own game. But I set it to 1. So, back to common events. It's pretty much checking to see if we're there. So, if we were standing on a land tile, the terrain tag would be 0. And next it'll ask if is water check 1? Well, no, it's 0. So it's going to say, hey, there's no water here. But if we're standing in water, which has the terrain tag of 1, then it'll ask if we want to bottle water, and then yes or no. If we choose yes, it's going to check to see how many bottles we have, which means we set another variable called bottle amount, and we set it to the number of empty bottles in our inventory through game data. So if we had 10 bottles, the bottle amount variable would be 10. And so it's going to check to see if you have more than one bottle. So since we have 10 bottles, yes. It'll ask how many bottles do we want to use to make bottled water. In which case we'll now input a number, which will go into another variable called water bottle add, and we're going to go up to 2 digits because that's how many items you can hold. So after you set your digits, it'll check to see if the number of bottles you want to make exceeds how many you actually have. In this case, if we put in 20 and we only have 10 bottles, it'll check that. It'll check that by seeing if the water bottle variable exceeds your bottle amount variable. And it'll say, nope, can't do that, you don't have enough bottles. And then it will loop back around to this bottle check label that I put down, which will, again, check to see how many bottles we have and ask how many we want to use until you get it right. And if you did put in a correct amount, it will subtract the water bottle variable from the bottle amount, give you those items in the correct numbers, and remove the correct numbers. I am tongue-tied. It'll remove and add the correct numbers of items that you're getting and losing, and then it will tell you how much you're getting and losing. And that's pretty much it. And if you only have one bottle of water, then it just adds a bottle of water and removes your bottle, which I gotta fix there. Whoop. There we go. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. It does sound a bit complicated, probably because it was, but it is simple once you figure out the logistics of how variables and the logic of all the code and order works. Figuring out how to get the position of the player so the game will be like, oh hey, you're standing in water, was a little difficult until I'm like, wait, maybe I need to make a variable to determine where my position is, and that's where these two variables come into play, and lo and behold, it worked. So yeah, that's how you bottle water, and you can probably rework that knowledge into other various means of collection or something else in RPG Maker MV or VXA. Their event systems pretty much work the same, I can tell. That's it. Have fun, and see you next time.